Hey everyone, so I just want to give you an update on the results of my May goals and how I did, but also tell you what I want to accomplish in June and everything that I have hoped for this month ahead. So stay tuned while we go over everything. I would like to talk about the joys and struggles I had over the past month of May. And I would say that the biggest struggle that I had would be my dopamine addiction. In plainer terms, cheap dopamine that I would get through alcohol and porn. So it's not like to say I had alcohol and watched porn every single day. It was just one of those things that I did it way too often, that it was becoming a detriment to my progress and goals. I was still able to advance, but it was one of those things that I noticed that if I want to progress in life and move forward in life, I have to be okay with discomfort. And that means not turning to things to run away from discomfort or pretty much just escape everything that I dislike. I have to learn to embrace discomfort so I can find the joy in life and joy in everything else that comes along with progress. And yes, that includes discomfort. And there are times for alcohol, and porn is a whole different matter, which can be talked about in a different video. But it's about learning to find pleasure and joy in doing the things that I should do rather than trying to escape things and the simplicity of things that pretty much do not add anything to my life. And plus, it's recognizing that I won't get over this dopamine addiction or cheap dopamine addiction easily. It's going to take time, but it's one of those things that day by day it will get easier, it will get better. So there's hope along with recognizing the weakness. And I would have to say the greatest joy that I had over the month of May was finding my confidence and trust in God, knowing that He will take care of everything day by day. So don't think I have like no fear or that I'm just gonna start going off on everything I want to do. It is a process, and over that time, it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, today these are the things that I have to take care of. What am I worrying about today? God, help me through this process or help me deal with this situation. And I still went through moments of like fear, anger, anxiety, wanting to control things. But I found that by praying and looking over things, it all turned out okay. And it's finding out like, oh, I went through this hard time so I can learn this lesson, or oh, now I saw the bigger picture and I was had a wrong perception of things and I needed to correct that. So the fact of knowing that I am not in control and that yet everything turned out okay was such a relieving aspect for me, because now I know, hey, I can move forward in life, and as long as I keep on the path that God desires me to walk on, which is the path I actually truly want to walk on as well, everything's going to turn out okay. It might not go how I envision it or how I plan it, but it will be something that is so amazing and wonderful for me. And as for June, I have hopes and fears as well, and I can pretty much sum up my fears in not achieving my goals, in the sense that because it is Pride Month, which I am so happy, I love Pride, but I love going out with my friends, being able to celebrate, but I'm afraid that during that time as well, that I will lose track of my goals. I will pretty much misprioritize my time and efforts into things, and that my social life will pretty much take over things that probably need to be taken care of first, such as studying or working out, moderation in drinking and food, etc. Because time is the most precious commodity that we have, and how you progress in life is dependent upon how you spend it. So I would say my biggest fear is not spending my time properly. But on the flip side, my biggest hope is that I will progress in such an amazing way this month that I will achieve a lot more than I was expecting or even hoping. And because of my relationship with God and how it's progressing, I have hopes that so many things will happen this month that it will be an extreme blessing that I can't wait to share with so many of you all about how God has worked in my life and what He has brought about and what progress I can show and say, hey, this is the benefits of walking in faith. So let's go over each of the 7 fields and how everything turned out in May and what the goal is for June. So for faith, my focus was on learning to have reliance on God, and I would say that I definitely achieved that goal, and it's pretty much been a huge burden off my shoulders knowing that I have no control over anything and that everything will be okay. And I would say that my goal for June in accordance with that would be focusing more of my prayers to the Father, because in the past, with the belief of the Trinity and how God is one but three persons, I always focused on Christ or the Spirit, but never really on the Father in my prayers, unless it was like in a traditional sense. But now I'm going to actually focus my prayers with the Father and build a deeper relationship with Him instead of using proxies through the Spirit and Christ. And the hope with that is to just have a deeper relationship with the Father and understanding the Father as one of the persons of the Trinity. For family and friends, the goal for May was to have productive conversations, and I would say I definitely had productive conversations. It was not in the way that I was thinking, but it helped me build understanding of how my friends saw things, especially when it came to like romantic conversations about my love life and the different views that they have from a secular point of view versus my walk of faith in this tome. And it brought about conflict, but it was something that was able to be recognized, reconciled, and moved past, where I can agree to disagree and they can see things through my point of view as well. So it was definitely a very productive conversation that was very enlightening. But along with that comes my goal for June, where I have to recognize that I gotta set boundaries and that it's okay. So I could have close friends, but that does not mean that everyone has a say in my life. People have strengths, people have weaknesses, and I know where I'm supposed to be going, and setting up boundaries of how I let others, family, friends, doesn't matter closeness or not, but but allowing them to influence me is definitely something I'm going to have to set boundaries on, so that way I can have a healthy mental aspect, healthy emotional aspect, and absolutely a healthy spiritual aspect to everything that I'm doing in my life. In fitness for May, my goal was 220 pounds and have a 37-inch waist, and I can say completely that I failed. And that's because, one, I did not stick to discipline as much as I should have, and that ties into the cheap dopamine addiction. But the other aspect is I'm also doing body recomposition, so I'm building a lot more muscle and still losing fat and at a slow process, but that does affect the weight scale. So learning to be able to balance that and have a more realistic point of view, and that it will take time to lose inches around my waist, because the middle area of my body is the last place to lose fat. Usually I start in the face, neck, and then like sides, arms, etc. It's pretty much avoiding the areas that I wanted to, but it is what it is. But luckily, one thing I have kept in mind is that during this process, I'm still happy with who I am. I like how I look, at least very much in my face, and that my worth and my attractiveness is not completely based on my physical appearance, but it's also on my heart, my mind, and how I live my life. However, my goal is still to get my body to a point that I want it to be, and my goal for June is to reach 225 pounds. So right now I'm about 236, 235. So yes, I do have an ambitious goal for weight loss, or for fat loss, and to have pretty much a 37-inch waist again, and right now it's at 40. So we'll see how it works and goes. If I don't reach it, that'll be okay, but I like to set high standards so that way I can try to reach. In the end, I might not reach it, but at least I was farther than when I started. For finance, my goal was to have $300 in reserve, which is different from savings. My reserve fund is pretty much for like cars or other things that come up annually that I just don't keep a general track of. So having a reserve fund helps be able to not set my finances off in order, and I did achieve that, so very happy there. And however, as you've watched my videos before, I still have to keep working on budget control and spending control, which is kind of ironic because my goals for June at the moment is to buy the things that I need. And it's weird because I have no problem spending money on food or fun things, but now I actually need to spend money on a pair of new shoes, especially for gym, shorts because I didn't have any shorts and it's getting really hot outside. So doing that, and also other supplies that I just need to be able to have a healthy, comfortable life, to be able to move forward and focus on other things that need doing. So from a financial point of view is setting up enough money aside that I do have to be focused in investing in myself. So that we'll see how that goes, and making sure that I don't ruin other opportunities through self-investment. So for the field of education, the goal was to study music editing, especially for the YouTube videos. However, I didn't, not even once. So I would have to say it's a complete failure. And Saint Scholastica, my patron saint, I asked for your forgiveness because I asked for your intercession and pretty much ignored that. So definitely would have to say failure there, but I will bring it up again in the future to try to learn this. That's because my goal right now for June is to be better about speaking my ideas in a full manner, speaking more slowly, being better about storytelling, and being able to at least share my thoughts and opinions and views in a clear, concise manner that others will be able to take in and process for themselves and improve communication. For career, the goal was to build up a new routine that was productive, especially when it came to producing more YouTube videos, as well as being able to still progress with things at work that I needed to get done. And I would have to say, in general, that I did accomplish that, so I'm very happy there. But building off of that, I want to improve quality in the smaller areas of things, so that way I can be prouder of the work that I produce both in YouTube and at work. So that way I can basically say, hey, everything that I put myself into will be of good quality and time, at least worth your time. So the field of romance, the area that is completely out of my control, and there's a reason for that for faith purposes, but I would have to say I set the goal for May to be friends with my crush, TG. However, it seems that was not the case, and that's all right. It was one of those things that I still learned to progress about myself, still preparing myself to be in a relationship. So, as disappointing as it is, of course I want to have him in my life and begin friendship and knowing him better. But I did learn more about myself and preparing myself to be a good partner and person in this guy's life. So, not a complete loss, just not ended up how I hoped it would be. But continuing on the trail of hope and that mindset, I do believe that this month probably will be very different. And so my focus and goal for this month is keeping proper priorities. So usually if I get a crush or things start going like, okay, he entered my life, now I want to get to know him a lot more, it becomes very narrow-minded and focused, and I don't want to do that because that messes up priorities and slows down goals and affects other areas of life. So the goal for this month is maintaining proper priorities and balance between all of the various aspects of my life, so that way I can bring him into my life without it becoming so disruptive that it has negative consequences rather than the improvements and positive outcomes that I desire. So I'd like to truly thank you all for following along with me and sending your prayers and well wishes and just seeing how my chaotic life goes on and forward, but that with all that goes right and wrong, that in the end everything is okay, that for me following my faith and trusting in God and how everything works out does work out, and that I'm okay. It may not go as I planned, but it's really not about my plan in the end. I invite you all to keep following along with me, and I ask that you please keep praying for me or sending well wishes if one is not a believer. I pray that you are encouraged to pursue your own path and understanding in life, and that in the end, that your life is complete and full of blessings, and that you achieve the goals that are written on your heart. So until next time, be blessed.